the Secretary of the Navy out. He resigns. Richard Spencer asked to step down after disagreeing with the president over Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher's war crimes case. Former Green Beret commander, House Armed Services Committee member, Congressman Michael Waltz joins us now. Congressman, did the Secretary of Defense Esper do the right thing?
It seems so. It seems to me, yes, Brian. I talked to some folks last night in the Pentagon, and the issue here was that the Navy Secretary was essentially cutting deals around the Defense Secretary's back and creating a lot of confusion in the ranks. And look, for a lot of people who are going to say, well, this is about good order and discipline in the military, that doesn't just apply to Navy chiefs and their officers. That applies to admirals, to Navy secretaries, and to the President of the United States. That good order and discipline applies all the way up the chain of command, and a key element of any democracy is civilian oversight of the military. This was completely within the president's right. He looked into this case, and, you know, my point is the Navy has a lot of other things that it should be worried about right now.
Like, for example, I saw Senator Inhofe said, I'm not happy with Spencer anyway. We've had disagreements.
Yeah.
I was saying to myself, well, what's the problem? What is the problem?
Well, the problem is the number of cost overruns and delays in some of the Navy's major programs. The Ford-class carrier, the newest carrier in the fleet, has $2.5 billion in cost overruns, is going to be delayed in its fielding. It's our newest submarines, our nuclear submarines in our fleet, the construction hasn't even started yet, and we're looking at delays. The aviation fleet, in terms of its readiness, is struggling. Meanwhile, Brian, we have the Chinese that are on track to exceed the size of the U.S. Navy in the next 10 years. They're cranking out a ship every 6 weeks. So, look, if the president thinks this man was acquitted and he needs to retire and weighing out his service and multiple combat tours, that's his right within Commander-in-Chief. Salute and move on, and we need to be dealing with these bigger issues, and I completely agree with Senator Inhofe on this one.
So you want to see more efficiency at the Navy, and this could be a wake-up call. You know, the President of the United States, he gives the money, he counts on people to spend it correctly. And I remember he was on the Gerald R. Ford a year and a half ago, and he said, this thing doesn't even run yet. What is the problem? It is still not ready.
Yeah, no, it's got problems with its propulsion system. It has problems with the elevators that lift planes to the deck. And then the catapults can't launch the newest fighter in our inventory, the Joint Strike Fighter. So we're looking at almost $13 billion for this one aircraft carrier. Meanwhile, the $500 billion program with our fighters, they don't work together. So, I mean, these are huge issues. I'm on the Sea Power Oversight Committee. We want answers, and we need a Secretary of the Navy that is focused on these huge issues.
Well, here's a big question, Michael, especially you as a special operator yourself.
Yeah.
They need to know we have their back in times of war, and the intensity of which we don't understand as civilians. How do you do that and still have a sense of justice out in the field? How do you think we got that breakdown down?
Now, I've looked at all of these cases. In the case of Lieutenant Lawrence, the Army lieutenant that was recently pardoned, I've read that case cover to cover, received a lot of counsel on it. There's a big difference, Brian, between a mistake, even an error in judgment, and a war crime. And when you have men and women downrange making these decisions in split seconds in the pressure of combat, they can't have lawyers back in Washington with a 5,000-mile screwdriver second-guessing and Monday mortar quarterbacking. Big difference in that. In the case, there was another sergeant who walked into an Afghan village and machine-gunned 16 Afghans. That guy is sentenced to life, and he will never see the light of day. That's a war crime. The president's not even talking about that case.
Exactly. There's a logic to his pardons and the exoneration, and I know you're overseeing it too. Congressman, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Brian.